Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Good to see you again, and guess what? We just played in our store championship / case tournament this past, well, actually just yesterday, but Saturday, and it was fantastic. There was 36 people in total, and we had some phenomenal matches. I think that personally, I played really well this tournament, minus a few mistakes. There was one game that was like, I don't even want to call it a few mistakes. It was just the whole game I played terribly. And it happened to be a very important match. But nonetheless, it was still a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm super excited to upload these because, you know, some of the games were fantastic to look over. And I'm just ready to, you know, get some of these matches going. But we're up against a friendly face here, my man David. He unfortunately hurt his hand. His dog he said he was playing tug of war with his dog, and he might have missed the rope on one bite and got him right in the hand. But he was like, man, I'm good. That dog is just living his best life. He was like, I unfortunately had my hand in the wrong spot. But he still came out, even though it had just happened like the night before, and was like, I'm still trying to get these games in. But we do get the Buena Festa down, picking up that 7-drop Luffy, and we'll pass it over. So turn 2 coming in here. You know, Peros Sparrow's got to be coming down. If we see that 5K swing, it's looking pretty obvious. But no, we'll see a 9K at life. So that feels good that Peros Sparrow is no longer there. He does choose to leave the life up top and then just passes it over. And so now we have drawn into a few guilds right now. So a few guild Tesoros. And it's just kind of deciding what do we want to do. It's looking like a Nami swing here. And we do swing 5. He does take that top life. So I was curious as to what that was. That means it had to have been probably like a counterless large card on his side. But we pick up the Brook off the Nami. And now we're going to see 5 Dawn here. Looking like a Randolph play. You know, we could potentially see like Sanji come down with a leader swing. But with the 5, that's basically telling us that Randolph is coming down. And now here he is, the sweet boy. No, never mind. Wow. Okay, that's right. So he runs Heavenly Fire in this list. Kind of crazy. Some spice in that deck. Heavenly Fire does bounce a 3-cost or less back to life. So there goes my Nami Searcher for the game, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're just going to go ahead and swing 6, though. He will counter out with Capone and then bring back the guild, because I want to get that draw power in the later stages of the game. It also helps with potentially getting Sanji out of the way. If he wants to block, all I need to do is add 1 Dawn onto guild. Now, something that after looking at my hand, I believe in this match, I decided not to use guild early. I wanted to wait till I got to 10 Dawn. Sometimes, depending on the matchup, I actually will use it around that 8 Dawn spot, just because I don't have the cards that I'm looking for, and it helps me kind of cycle through some of the deck and get to where I want to be. But we're going to see a 7K swing. He does put this to the bottom, so it's a little unfortunate, but we will go back down to that 2 life spot. I really like that for being able to, being able to use Thunder Bagua. But he does Thunderbolt the the guild right there. So guild was not doing us any good. We'll have to try and get him down the next turn, but I don't think we will. It's more than likely going to be a 7-cost Luffy into like a Brook or something like that. He goes 6 with Sanji. Now, a lot of the times in the yellow matchup, I do tend to just like take these lives and not really worry about it too much. I did decide, though, since he's on the odd curve and I'm on evens right now, it feels like I could get away with just, keeping some of these like 1 life up, because he's more than likely going to play like an 8 cost, or 7 cost, and it'll give me like an extra turn to, you know, say whatever, that resource is there. We did our job. We swung 6 into the Sanji though, and he does counter out of that, and then we'll just go ahead and play Luffy and Uta. I like having the Uta down, especially when Sanji's on board. Makes things a lot easier. Also, it can't be removed with Heavenly Fire now that I know that he's running that. But I think 8-drop Katakuri would make sense here. He's smart, though. He does swing the Sanji because without swinging it, he knows it's going to get rested with Uta. We wouldn't be able to use our 10-cost Doflamingo, though, the following turn, which would be a little unfortunate. But we will see 7 at the life. I'll just go ahead and take this one. No problem for me. I'm thinking if he wants to play 8-drop Katakuri, more than likely my Luffy gets bounced back anyways, so I wanted to get some usage out of him. And now we'll see the 7-drop Linlin. I think we just trashed the Nami here. There's no point in giving him the life. Nami, you know, she did her job already. She got us a card, replaced herself, so I'm happy. Now, he does get Pudding. Looking at some of the cards he's got, looks like he's got a Thunderbolt and a couple of 2k counters. He's considering whether, you know, in the following turn, is he going to need the counter power more, or is there going to be a turn where potentially having that Thunderbolt could be really useful? And he does pick up the Thunderbolt. So now I know that since he has that in hand, it can be a little scary. I have to have, usually speaking, like 2 blockers on board, you know, and knowing that one of them is Uta, that means it's going to be kind of a bit harder for me to swing with the 7-cost Luffy. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to see if he'll let the Sanji go. If he lets the Sanji go, I can pretty much don't want to play 10-drop. I considered playing 10-drop this turn, but it just felt like I wasn't getting the value that I was looking for. So I'm just going to wait till that Linlin swings, and then we play it the following turn. But I will go ahead and trash the Sugar using the Queen, picking up some cards, which is real nice. And then we also have like another guild in hand, so that might be a play. We might just go another 5 for guild here. But yeah, now that we have that second blocker, I can swing with Luffy a little more freely. I also have a lot of events in hand, as well as some counters. So I did the math of whether he'd be able to KO me if he had 2 Thunderbolts in hand, which I know is like a really crazy situation. But I was like, what if he has 2 Thunderbolts in hand? Can I get out of the Linlin swinging at me for like 14? And I was able to, so I was like, yep, I can pretty freely do this. And then the following turn, 10 cost will look pretty good. 7k, he does leave the life up top. So we still know that that bottom life was planned, and it's going to be probably just sitting down there for a while. Makes me wonder, is it Beji? Is it Sanji? I feel like we've got a really good board right now, but how do we capitalize from here? So 7k at life. I'm considering restanding the Luffy just in case or something. I don't know if I really want to block with Uta right now because it's not really going to do me much. I could just use the Queen, but I do just choose to restand the Luffy considering we just have so many events in hand. I'm not really sweating it too much. Now with the 9k swing though, I'm seeing that, you know, all right, we used 2 Dawn. Obviously there's no 10 cost this turn, but do we want to like play a little differently because of the 8 cost? And we decide, you know, it is what it is. He's going to bounce something, whether it's Luffy or whether it's Guild, you know, we're just going to have to find out. And it does end up being Guild. So, unfortunate. I would have really loved to have that card draw power, especially with him getting rid of the other one as well. But I'll just go 5 to life, see what happens. And he is going to take this one. He will use the trigger, which is Heavenly Fire. He can actually add one of the top or bottom life to his hand and then replace it with another card. And now, me knowing that he put a card to the bottom and he took it was kind of telling. I said, okay, he probably added a 2k counter to the bottom and then just added that to his hand, and now you've got Thunderbolt being put on the top of life, because there would be almost no point in him having Thunderbolt anymore. But he does get a 10-drop Mom down, KOing the Guild, and now he's just going to pass it over. This is, you know, it's a weird spot. We've got 2 blockers. We're not looking bad, but we have to slowly whittle down his life to where I can get him within a KO range. And yeah, it's honestly kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm taking my time. I'm just thinking of what's the best course of action, because I know that second life is gonna be Thunderbolt, and if it isn't, it's probably Veggie. But I'm thinking more than likely Thunderbolt. All right, so we got lucky. We swing, and the card that was topped from Lin didn't end up being anything, you know, too crazy. So I'm happy with that. But now I still got to plan around. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is the play to chain another 10 drop? Is it, you know, we do have some options, like as far as blockers in hand. Could try and get another 7-cost Luffy down. I am just going to go 10 into the Lin though. I want to see what his reaction to this is. Does he counter out? Does he let it go? He is going to let it go. So it feels as though 10 drop just isn't going to get the same value for me as it did previously. So I'm thinking more of like the blocker route, but yet again, you know, these are just things that are kind of going through my head, and I gotta figure out what the best play is, not knowing, you know, too much information other than, you know, what's happening there. As you can see, I didn't really have much in hand to play, so I do just choose to go 4 into the pudding. I wanted to make sure that he didn't have like random 5k swings that would be a nuisance later on in the match. And yeah, we'll just let the Buena go here from the pudding swing. Also have 4 active Dawn. It looks as though we have like 2, maybe 3 events in hand. Not too bad, but I think he's considering whether he wants to 10 drop Mom again. You know, it does feel safe. It's like pretty safe for him to do so at the moment, especially with him having, you know, a relatively healthy hand. He's got like 3 cards, and he'd be adding 3 as well. So I think the odds of him being able to get out of some swings are pretty decent. But we're going to see a 12k to lead right here. I'm considering whether I want to block with Luffy, restand, and pitch a 2k, or if I just want to block with Uta right here. Yet again, kind of one of those decisions that I got to kind of make on the fly, knowing that he's going to swing with the other 8k as well, but he chooses not to, which actually surprised me. So I felt as though I missed the mark there. I could have went and just restood my Luffy, but it is what it is. You know, can't do much about that. We do have the 10 drop. It's still an option. He didn't swing with lead, and I don't know. This is a weird spot. Just having 2 10 costs chained at one after another on his board is really hard to deal with. Like, usually speaking, I feel pretty good about this yellow matchup, but it's scary when, you know, he's giving me little information and going like this. But I do swing 5. I'm yet again just trying to get information from him. Do you have counters? And if you don't, what are you doing, right? So he does get Sanji. Sanji comes down, pitches the 7-cost Lin. I'm thinking in my head that I've got game now. So I play Sugar. I rest the Sanji. I know that I'm going to get Thunderbolted, so I have to swing with Queen first, right? So I choose to go 9 at life right now. And I got a little confident here because he does whip out the 3 cards in hand. Yep. And I've got 5 cards, or excuse me, 5 Dawn to work with, but he whips out the 3 cards in hand, and he hits me with 3 2Ks, 2 Veggies, and a good old-fashioned Strusen. And I'm sitting here like, oh boy, I have no blockers to play. I have quite a lot of events, but we are looking kind of rough now. I'm in a spot that I'm a little scared, right? But I'm thinking, okay, he has no cards in hand. I can at least freely get rid of one of the Lins. She has to go. There's no way, shape, or form that I can let that live. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pass and have 5 active. I do have a lot of 2k counters. I've also got 3 events, but I can't use the 3rd one because I only have 5 active. But in this spot, I just kind of have to hope that he swings particularly, because if he does, then I'm able to get maybe a restand on the queen and hopefully try and go for the game the following turn. He's only got one card in hand, so I know that he's not, unless he top decked a, you know, another big mom. I know that I'm probably not looking at, you know, seeing a little bit of a threat on an increase in life, but I do have to worry that he did get like maybe some counter card that could be really tricky in this situation when I'm trying to go for game the following turn. It's also that he has enough power on the board. Potentially, I'm just kind of down bad, and he's able to get everything through and just win the game. But Spider's Web is a tricky card. He does choose to put 5 onto lead and to swing 11 at life here. I think the better play would have more than likely been to just swing the Lin first, maybe attach 3 to Katakuri afterwards. But I think 11 here is still kind of a tricky number. It's just convenient for me that it was a really big, it was a really big commit with that Dawn. So 5 Dawn was committed to this swing, and I'm like, okay, I only have 5 left to worry about. What are the potentials that I could be looking at? I could be looking at 9 with Sanji, 9 with Katakuri, 12 with Lin. And I'm just going through the numbers in my head, thinking, okay, how do I get out of this and simultaneously try and keep my 10-cost Dofi alive? So I will use 2. I'll punk Gibson the Sanji so that it just gets rid of one of the swings initially, you know, so it's not 9. And then I will use a Spider's Web to restand the queen, because now I know that if he does go 7 with pudding, I have enough 2k counters to get out of that, right? I don't have to use a block, and then the other 2 will swing. I can use the blocks, and then I will have 3 swings left, but one of them happens to be sugar. So, bit of a scary situation. Bit of a scary situation to be in. And yeah, I mean, like, these are the final moments of the match, so definitely taking our time, just trying to figure out what is the best way to do this. And, you know, because each turn isn't too bad, but when it comes down to number crunching like this, it can take just a second. And I don't blame him. I would take my time on this as well. I had to think about whether I was going to be countering out or not. But we do finally see the 12k Lin coming out. I think we just blocked this with Queen here. Yeah, so it's just going to be a block with Queen. See if he does a 9k with Katakuri. I mean, worst case scenario would be is that he leaves, or he has 4 Dawn left for Sanji, and he top decked a Sanji. I mean, that would be worst case scenario. Actually, no, it wouldn't be worst case scenario. That's right, because I have sugar. I almost forgot that, yeah, we've got sugar. We're looking good. Yeah, and this was so unfortunate. I remember this in my head. I was actually really upset because I thought that I was looking super good. And he attaches the final 5 to Katakuri and swings 13. I have exactly 3 2k counters in my hand at this moment. So if I was to rest the Luffy, I can go up to 9, 11, 13. So Luffy still dies, and I'm so sad because I was thinking that there was maybe some way that he wouldn't swing exactly 13, but he does. It was the perfect number. And I told him that after the match that I had exactly the amount to counter this. But I told him, I was like, yep, I don't have anything to survive next turn, so I got to go for it. So 7k here. I knew the Thunderbolt was there from the previous turn, so now we'll swing 7. And depending on the card he gets, we got lucky. No blocker, no Beji, and we go for game. It was a solid first match. I felt as though I played it a little weird at the end, but we were able to squeak by. I think dealing with those chain 10 drops is pretty difficult. But all in all, solid match. Always love the games against my man David. But let me know your thoughts, guys. And other than that, I will catch y'all in the next one, all right? Peace.